Hi, this is Curious Mystics Podcast. Together we explore the mysteries of the spiritual world, sometimes boldly,
sometimes cautiously,
but always with open hearts
and curious minds.
See you soon. Good morning. It's Erica.
And Kim.
And it's Curious Mystics Podcast.
We're back at it.
We are. What is happening?
Not much. I am actually, as we were waiting for the countdown to begin, I was envisioning how I'm going to start to make my day go differently. So
Okay.
I think I'm in a better space than I was the last time we recorded.
Good. I was thinking about it too. I was like, maybe we need to Palo Santo or Sage or something and reset. Yeah. I had to get a new Palo Santo thingy stick, and I think it has something on it, like a resin or something. And I don't like the way it smells, so I think I need to get a new one.
Yeah.
A new one. Because this one just, I don't know. I don't like the way it smells.
It's not leaving you with the good vibes.
No, because then I'm just focused on I think there's something on it, you know?
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about, which is I'm kind of fun and excited to talk about, is winter goddesses and winter deities.
Yeah. I was excited to hear this one.
Yeah. So it was kind of fun to do the research on, and there's some pretty powerful deities out there that are associated with winter. And interestingly, they are mostly women, or at least the ones that I was looking at. Maybe it's just I was drawn to that. I don't know. So we're talking. I have three ones that we're going to talk about, and then one quick one that we're going to talk about. But
okay,
the first one we're going to talk about is Skadi. She's a Norse goddess, and she's associated with hunting. And she is the daughter of Theas, and they are similar to Odin in that class of, I guess in North mythology, there's different types of gods, and Theas is a Jotun god, similar to those of Odin, but slightly different. They're closer to nature.
Okay.
Those type of gods are.
Yeah.
And the word Jotun is translated as devourers. And so they are associated with darkness and cold and death. So the myth of Skadi is that it starts with the death of her father, Theas, by the Asgardian gods. There's a god that he stole some woman and they went after him, and so they ended up killing him because of that. And she became furious. It was this. She came and she got all battle ready, and she marched herself into Asgard and demanded that there be retribution for this.
Okay.
So, and they said, okay, well, don't kill us. What can we do? And she said, all right, fine. There's two things that you can do. One, she said, I can marry one of you. And they said, okay. She's like, but I only want to choose somebody by the look of their feet. And their feet only.
Okay.
So all the gods stood behind a sheet, and she looked at their feet. And she saw one that were beautiful, and they were strong, and they were they had to go with this beautiful god. She thought it was Baldur, because apparently he's this beautiful god, and she was all excited. Well, the god steps out, and it's actually the sea god, Nord.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, that's okay. And they did end up marrying, and we'll get to that story in a second. But the second thing that she said, she's half appeased. Okay, she's okay, whatever, I got this guy. Well, I'll deal with him. He's fine. But I want you to make me laugh. Somebody has to make me laugh. Which apparently she's this battle hard
Yeah.
warrior goddess, and she doesn't laugh.
I feel like these are really interesting demands in order to not decimate everyone.
Right? I know.
I want someone with good feet, and I want someone to make me laugh.
Right? I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Loki, the ever jokester of the Norse gods, tied a rope to a goat and then a rope to his testicles and played tug of war. Okay. And he lost. And when he lost, he fell. And it was really funny. And she laughed.
Okay.
So Loki saved everybody by tying a rope to his testicles. Mm-hmm. So she's appeased. And she goes off to the marriage with Nord. And it worked out initially. Mm-hmm. But she's from the mountains. And the cold and the hard and the nature and like the stillness of the mountains, and he's from the ocean and like the wildness of that, and you know, it's warmer and the ever changing of that. And so they kept fighting about this, and they would keep fighting over where they would live. Like they would go to the mountains and then would go to the sea, and then they would go to the mountains and then they would go to sea. And that's how the seasons were explained, is that because when they moved, it changed the seasons. But eventually they did split, and they were both at this grand feast with all the gods and goddesses, and they were kind of bickering back and forth. And then Loki started insulting her for no apparent reason. He was like, just being nasty to her. Mm-hmm. And she said, cut it out, or I'm going to bind you to a rock with the entrails of your son.
Yikes. Okay, she's not playing.
Yeah, no. And apparently she did, because he didn't stop.
Okay.
So that's, there's a whole legend beyond that. Mm-hmm. Like there was a snake that kept dripping venom on his face and all this stuff. But so she is this very revered, very powerful goddess. Yeah. Known for, whenever she would be upset or angry, the winds would come. Mm-hmm. But she also is supposed to be very powerful and just a very strong-willed. Yeah. And appreciated the stillness of the mountains, the stillness of winter. Yeah. And reminds us to kind of like lean into that during the winter months, is to lean into that stillness and that somewhat aloneness and that sort of thing. So
I can appreciate that. And I think as you're telling the story, the things that stick out to me is like what's the word that I'm looking for? Consistency or reliability. Like she does what she says she's going to do. Mm-hmm. And you can count on that. Good, bad, or indifferent, you can count on that. And so I think that like maybe it kind of goes along with like stillness, but like being a rock, following through, and you know what you're going to expect. You know what to expect because she's said, this is what you can expect if XYZ or whatever. So when you think about like winter, you know what to expect. Mm-hmm. And you can rely on the stillness. You can rely on the follow through of the cold. You can rely on, that experience.
And also, if you mess around in winter, or if you're foolhardy in winter, there's going to be consequences. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can be hurt. It's going to be, you're going to suffer some sort of mishap. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting. I just really liked learning about her because she sounded like a badass, and she wasn't taking no for an answer. Mm-hmm. So now we are moving to Japan. Okay. And we're talking about Yuki-Onna. And she's known as the snow spirit. And she was often seen during snowstorms as like a white, long, flowy haired figure. Some legends say that she is a spirit of someone who died in the snow. And some say that she is like the actual spirit of winter, like the actual like spirit of winter. Mm-hmm. And her folklore goes back centuries, and she originally was depicted, excuse me, as like this fierce, like spirit that laid on travelers in snowstorms and was like a ruthless killer. But then in like the 1800s, she became more benevolent. Like she was started to be portrayed more benevolent. And kind of the thought is because, centuries ago, the winter would kill you.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't much you could do. It was a very scary time. Whereas, getting into the 1800s, we're getting into the more modern day, and they kind of understood what winter was and how to work through it.
Yeah.
So, and understand like that you have to have the seasons and like why it happens. So, different regions of Japan, she had some different names. And one of them was Tara-Onna. Tara-Onna is known as Icicle Woman, who is a beautiful woman who melts after being touched. And then there's Shigama Nyobo. And she's a spirit seeking warmth, but is bound to the ice. So like she would want to go and see people and go into their homes and be part of the action and be loved, but she couldn't be because she's bound to the ice. So the most popular story of Yuki-Onna is the one where she meets a woodcutter and his old master. So Minyochi is the woodcutter. And him and his old master were traveling in the woods in winter, and a big storm comes up, and they seek solace in a cabin, and they're trying to get warm and everything. And then suddenly a woman bursts in and is standing in their doorway, and she takes one look at them, and she breathes cold air onto the old master and freezes him into a statue. And she went to do the same to Minyochi, but she saw how young and beautiful and strong he was, and she said, "Okay, I'm not gonna kill you, but you can't tell anybody about this ever."
Okay.
And he said, "Okay, I promise I won't do that." So years later, he gets married, and he has 10 children, and he has this beautiful wife. And one night, he decides, I need to tell my wife about this.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, don't tell me that. He's not going to do it.
Yeah. And so he tells her the story about how he was almost killed by Yuki-Onna and the whole thing. And when he's done, his wife morphs into Yuki-Onna. And she became enraged. And she said, I could kill you. I could kill you right now. But I love my children so much. I love our 10 children so much that I'm not going to do that. But I'm leaving. And she vanished. So, and he just
can't trust a man.
Right. You try, and yeah. So the tale symbolizes beauty and danger.
Yeah.
You've got Yuki-Onna showing that there's the harshness of winter, the harshness of the season, and sometimes there's peril associated with it. But then it also shows that the different seasons with like the cyclical nature of the seasons, because the wife turns back into Yuki-Onna. Like she was this warm, loving person, and then she turns back into the harsh winter Yuki-Onna. So
I can see how that, to some extent, there's like the necessity of it. Sometimes we are in situations that we don't have a choice and we need to. And if we don't, that could be detrimental in some way. So I could see how someone might turn to Yuki-Onna for those types of situations. I'm in a situation in which I need to transform from hard to soft or soft to hard, and I don't know how to. And using her story as like a muse of some sort for that.
Right. And just knowing that there is beauty, but also danger in the colder months and in the winter and in the snow. That it can be both. And being able to appreciate both.
Yeah, which I think is a hard thing to do most times anyway. Like, we're constantly talking about that. We're constantly talking about that. I'm having those conversations in sessions all the time, but it's like, yeah, two things can be true at the same time, and it's difficult sometimes to hold both truths. But recognizing that both can serve a function, or that both are necessary, or that both just exist simultaneously.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end, I'm gonna do a little like things that you can kind of like reflect on based on these kind of tales. But so the next one, it's a little bit brief because I didn't find a ton about this person, but he's a male.
Okay.
Well, depicted as a male, and he is Morozko or Muroskov. He is the powerful ancient Slavic winter spirit.
Okay.
And he is the demon of frost and cold. And he can be depicted as a blacksmith or a wizard, but oftentimes just a man in like blue clothing, bright eyes, like very beautiful man. There is a story that says that there's a man who marries a woman who has a child, and he also has a child, and they're both girls. And the stepmother hates his child. And so she says, you know what? Send her out to Morozko and see what happens. Like, get her married to Morozko. Knowing that most likely he's a snow demon. He's probably going to be bad. Like, he's either going to keep her or he's going to kill her. And so the girl goes out and she sits there, and it's cold, it's cold, it's cold. And he comes to her and says, what do you want? And she's like, I just want to be here. Like, she shows strength and then also humility at the same time. And he decides to not hurt her because she shows truth and strength.
Yeah.
And he sends her home with all this gold and everything. So the stepmother is surprised and mad. So she says, well, fine. Well, my daughter is better. She'll get even more riches. So she sends her out, and the stepdaughter is out there, and he comes to her, and she's complaining it's cold, and it's, where's her money and all this stuff. And he says, screw you. And he kills her.
Hey friends, we just wanted to take a moment to remind you all that you can interact with us on social media. We can be found at Curious Mystics Podcast on all platforms.
And if you haven't already, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share so that we can keep showing up for you guys with new weekly episodes and content. Thank you for hanging out with us so far, and stay curious.
Okay.
Yeah. So
when I said previously you can't trust a man, you can't trust an evil stepmother.
No, you can't. Almost all the time.
Almost all the time, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually reading. Part of why I looked into this deity is because I'm reading a series. It starts with The Bear and the Nightingale, and it's by Catherine Arden, and it's a 3-book series. And he is one of the main characters, is Morozko, and this girl, and it's a really interesting story. It's set in just Christian, like pre-Christian Christian, where it's like crossing over time in Russia, like before like Moscow was like this gigantic thing or anything. So it's really kind of a cool story, and that's kind of the fairy tale that she starts out with.
Interesting.
And I guess over time in more modern Russia, he is considered Grandfather Frost.
Okay.
More like Santa Claus. He's also in ancient times, he's associated with death. Like, he's kind of like the Grim Reaper a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have on him. And then no story about winter deities is complete without talking about the Cailleach.
Yes.
And she is I'm not pronouncing it great, Cailleach, or Bira, out of the Scottish and Irish and Isle of Man stories. And she is one of the oldest Gaelic deities. And she's been, I mean, from the dawn of time, there's been this story of her. And it's mostly oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot written about her, at least, in ancient times. And she is thought to be both a goddess and a giantess. Like, she's huge. And she's usually depicted as wearing a hood. Mm-hmm. And she's an old woman typically. And she's older than the trees. Like, she's older than the land itself. And she had blue skin, like frost, white hair, and is most often depicted as having only one eye. Mm-hmm. And she wears this cloak and shawl with skulls hanging from them, mm-hmm. and usually has red teeth. And she...
Intimidating.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, there's an Indian god mm-hmm. that looks very similar, that's blue and has red teeth, and is very fearsome. So I found that interesting, that there's a very they're very similarly depicted. So she is said to be the mother of all gods and goddesses.
Okay.
And she also is the god of giants, the mother of giants.
Naturally.
And the story goes is that she shaped the land of Scotland and Ireland and the Isle of Man, because she's this gigantic figure, and she would carry boulders and rocks in her apron or a basket, depending on who's talking. And she either is purposely throwing them down or they're dropping out of her basket as she's walking along. Mm-hmm. And it makes like the rivers and the caverns and the caves mm-hmm. and the hills.
Yeah.
And some say another one is that she used her hammer and like was striking the ground. Another one is that she had these children that were giants, and they were quarreling all the time, and they would throw boulders at each other. And where the boulders landed was where the landscape came from. Mm-hmm. In Ireland, she's known as the Hag of Bira, and Scotland, the Queen of Winter. Mm-hmm. And some people believe that she's a trio of witches, mm-hmm. but she's the most powerful.
Okay.
Even in that scenario, they usually have her as the most powerful. Mm-hmm. Her rule is from Samhain to Beltane. Okay. Some say Imbolc. And I'll get to that in a second. And can be depicted as riding wolves. Sometimes she has a hammer. Sometimes she has a rod. She's also associated with horned animals, especially, mm-hmm. and the protector of animals. Part of the myth is that she has this cloak, and off of Scotland is a whirlpool mm-hmm. in the ocean that becomes much more active, like 3 or 4 days before winter's supposed to come. Mm-hmm. And that is when she goes to wash her cloak.
Okay.
And she washes her cloak, and when she's done with that, she lays it across the land to dry, mm-hmm. and that's the snow.
That's beautiful.
I know, I like that. I just felt like it. I picture like that calm, like, she puts it down, like everything just kind of goes calm.
Yes.
Yeah. Part of why I said some people say Imbolc as far as her reign goes is because that's what Brigid mm-hmm. comes to life. It's like her time is Imbolc, mm-hmm. and she represents spring.
Yeah.
Some legends say that it's the same person, that they just morph.
Okay.
Back and forth.
Some transformation there.
But some of the legends say that she's active. Cailleach is active when Imbolc comes and it's sunny. Mm-hmm. She's gathering wood to keep the rest of the winter to go. So it means that it's going to be like more wintry. And this is February 1st. But if it's dark, it means she slept in, and mm-hmm. so spring's going to come quicker because she didn't get her wood to keep the fire going.
Interesting.
Some say that the two, Brigitte and Cailleach, fight each other and imprison each other in turn during the seasons. So it's interesting.
Lots of different stories behind that.
Mm-hmm. So I find her a very interesting character. She's very much feared.
Mm-hmm.
She's very, very powerful. And she is one of the most feared gods and goddesses in the mythology of the Celtic mythologies.
Yeah.
But those are the different types of deities that I found.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about how to use these, like the idea of these deities and what they represent and like winter in general, as to like kind of how to maybe do a little ritual around them or like use them in some way. And so one of the ones that I kind of like the idea was tapping into the Cailleach's idea of the cloak.
Mm-hmm.
And like preparing your inner landscape.
Yeah.
To reflect.
Mm-hmm.
You start by imagining your own energetic cloak. Mm-hmm. Like any emotional residue that you have on you for the past year. And then write down what feels heavy or tangled or ready to be released. You can either burn it or bury it. Mm-hmm. You can put it on your altar with the idea that it's going to be like released. And then visualize washing your cloak clean in a glowing whirlpool of light and then laying it across your shoulders again with it all white and like clean and ready to allow you to be set for this season.
Yeah.
And allows you to release those old patterns and get ready for winter with clarity.
I think that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of like energetic and internal work that can be done, and that's kind of a natural time to do it. Is, you know, the time that we start to shut things down a little bit, like physically in our environment and things like that. Everything kind of goes to rest. So being able to turn inward and do some of that energetic work, it seems like the right time to do that.
And some ideas on maybe creating a winter altar to kind of embody that stillness and that quietness is to have a white or dark blue candle, stones like obsidian or moonstone or snowflake obsidian are good to have, the bowl of water, obviously, for that whirlpool and that storm energy. Evergreen sprigs or pine cones, or even like rosemary. I have always associate rosemary with the winter months.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also very good energetically to have there. And then like a small cloth that you could represent as Cailleach's cloak. And it's to dedicate a space for like inner reflection, rest, ancestral connection. Like that sort of thing. Some people, I mean, if you want to, you could possibly think about connecting to any of these deities. That's not something that I've ever kind of tried to do, but I do know that a lot of people do connect to deities in their practices. So during this time of year, maybe wanting to tap into one of these deities would be interesting. See if you could call forth their wisdom.
Yeah, I think that's always like something that's like an interesting thought to me, but knowing how to do that in a way that's like appropriate and respectful and, you know, for the purpose that you're looking for, and not like if you don't know what you're doing and you do that, you have no idea what the outcome's going to be.
Right, absolutely. That's why I'm saying, like, if this is something you do in your practice and you know how to do this, that contemplating doing this, I personally wouldn't, just because I don't do that in my practice.
Yeah.
But I can see using kind of the undertones of the story and like the reflections on that. That's how I would use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So those are just some other ways that you can use it. Another one that I like, the Stone of Stillness. So, you know, Cailleach, she's a mountain builder. And stone is her element. And also Skadi, she's from the mountains. And so you can find a stone that you choose that is calling to you from the outside. Now, in my practice, you always ask if it wants to come with you. And if it wants to, you can cleanse it with like smoke or water or moonlight, and then hold it during meditations to anchor yourself to like the winter, into the ground, into the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that because it being, at least in my thought, like being anchored and still for meditative practices is important. It's also something that I struggle with, which is part of the reason why I struggle with the meditation. Is like, I can do that for brief periods of time, and sometimes it takes more for me to be still.
Yeah, so maybe holding the stone and focusing on its grounding and its stillness and its,
Yeah.
steadfast energy, maybe that can just kind of bring you more inwards and reflection. Better reflection.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's what I have.
Okay. Well, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think if there's any other notable winter deities that maybe we haven't covered, or anything else, like other stories that people might have about these winter deities, maybe let us know and give us some more information on that.
As my dog decides to shake itself repeatedly.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so let us know, and always like, subscribe, rate, comment.
All the things.
And until next time,
Let's stay
curious.
Bye.